Well, starting off with the breaking news that we're getting in at this hour, the US and Iran have agreed to a peace deal which will end military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. The announcement was made by Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. In a post on social media platform X, Sharif said that an official signing ceremony will be held on 19th of June in Switzerland. US President Donald Trump swiftly confirmed with a statement of his own. In a post on his Truth social network, he said the Strait of Hormuz would reopen after the planned signing of a deal on Friday, apparently contradicting an earlier statement that the crucial waterway would open immediately. Trump has added that the deal will bring peace and security to the whole region. And soon after, Iran said that the newly announced agreement with the US puts an immediate end to the country's war. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Qasem Gharibabadi, in a televised comment, said that negotiations for a final deal will be held during a 60-day period, adding that Tehran would take its own measures in case of breaches from the other side. Iran's military said it humiliated the US and Israel. In a statement, it said that the two countries that it described as enemies had no path other than accepting defeat and surrender. Well, this is the breaking news that we're getting in at this hour. The US and Iran have agreed to a peace deal which will end military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. Now, the announcement was made by Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. In a post on social media platform X, he said that an official signing ceremony will be held on 19th of June in Switzerland. Now, US President Donald Trump has swiftly confirmed with a statement of his own. In a post on his Truth social network, he said that the Strait of Hormuz would reopen after the planned signing of the deal on Friday, apparently contradicting an earlier statement that the crucial waterway would open immediately. Now, Trump has also added that the deal will bring peace and security to the whole region, and soon after, Iran said that the newly announced agreement with the US puts an immediate end to the country's war. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Qasem Gharibabadi, in a televised comment, said that negotiations for a final deal will be held during a 60-day period, adding that Tehran would take its own measures in case of breaches from the other side. Now, Iran's military said it had humiliated the US and Israel in a statement, and it said that the two countries had described as enemies had no path other than accepting defeat and surrender. Well, this is the latest that we're getting in, and this is all on the sidelines of what we are getting.
This memorandum of understanding was reached despite our complete distrust of our enemies. We have no trust in the enemy. Our trust lies in our military strength, our diplomatic capabilities, and the support and unity of our own people. That is why the implementation of this memorandum of understanding is extremely important. We have specific plans in place to monitor the implementation of US commitments under this memorandum.
Well, this was Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Qasem Gharibabadi, who in a televised comment said that negotiations for the final deal will be held during a 60-day period. And for more on this, we are being joined by Susan Tehrani. Susan, can you please get us more details on what we are actually getting right now?
Well, at least for now, we're expecting for the text of the agreement to not be immediately released but signed on Friday. The signing, which Iran and Pakistan, a mediator, said would take place in Geneva, would really be the highest level between Tehran and Washington in 47 years if it does ultimately happen. President Trump said, quote unquote, ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. What we know right now is President Trump's post really aligns with what American and Iranian officials had previously said an initial agreement might contain that the deal would include a 60-day ceasefire. But I think after that soundbite, it's clear that each side are seeking to portray the agreement as a diplomatic victory after these 4 months of war. But there are some thorny issues that I think need to be addressed, including the state of Iran's nuclear program, sanctions released for Tehran. These are issues that remain unresolved and have been pushed to a further round of negotiations. So this is not a one-all. And then, of course, earlier we heard that Israel wasn't satisfied, considering the fact that Lebanon may prove to be another stumbling block in this deal.
Right, Susan. Right now we are getting our viewers live visuals that are just coming in of President Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has officially confirmed that a comprehensive framework agreement with Iran has been reached. This is what we are getting, effectively bringing an immediate and permanent end to the war that has gripped West Asia. Now, on your screens, as you can see, he is sitting there. He has spent the night on the White House South Lawn. He's celebrating his 80th birthday by hosting UFC Freedom 250, which is a massive, unprecedented sports spectacle right outside the Oval Office. These are the live visuals that we are getting in as we watch the president this morning. The focus completely shifts from the weekend's festivities to the hard foreign policy ahead, which we're talking about in the US-Iran war, with an official signing ceremony, which is scheduled in Switzerland just days from now. Now, it is a fast-moving morning here as the administration pivots from a high-profile weekend directly. Now, these visuals that we're getting, these are just ahead of his scheduled departure from the G7 summit in France. We will be continuing to monitor these live feeds and bring you all updates and statements. Right now, Susan, can you get us more details on the UFC Freedom that we are looking at our screens? Can you get us more details on that?
Right. This was an event that President Trump wanted to host for a very long time. It's now happening at the White House for his birthday. It really comes ahead of, the 4th of July celebration. The White House is saying that this is a historic event. It marks the U.S. semi-centennial and coincides with President Trump's 80th birthday. But it's important to note that there were lightning threats, weather threats, and severe weather in the Washington area. So the main car production has sort of been postponed. We're getting news from the White House press pool that they haven't been allowed in yet. They've been on a holding, so we don't know exactly when this ceremony ultimately is going to start. But it's something that the White House has touted about for a very long time, and now it's happening tonight, coinciding, of course, with what President Trump says will be a signing of a peace deal with Iran. It's important to note that J.D. Vance, the vice president, also said about the agreement that Iran had the potential to fundamentally transform the Middle East for the next 50 years if Iran complies with the deal. He said that the agreement would ensure that Tehran would never have a nuclear weapon, including by preventing Iran from, quote, pursuing, procuring, or trying to buy one. And then we also heard from Senator Lindsey Graham. Remember, he was very pro this conflict that was happening. He wanted the United States to go all out. He expressed skepticism about the sort of hardiness of the agreement's provisions on Iran's nuclear program, while saying that he was pleased that the United States and Iran had agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And then we heard from the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who welcomed the announcement of the agreement as well. So a lot of reactions coming, again, on the heels of this possibility.
Right, Susan.
But also, yeah.
Right, Susan. We will be getting more details on both, actually, on the backdrop that we just saw. It's UFC Freedom 25, which is like the first professional sporting event held right on the South Lawn of the White House. And on the other hand, they've just finalized a major diplomatic breakthrough on to permanently it's the rhetoric to end the 4-month war with Iran, halting military operations across all fronts, which is also including Lebanon, and also reopening the Strait of Hormuz. But we'll be getting all of the details, more details, as we will get them on our show. But thank you so much, Susan, for joining us today and getting us all the details.